podcast going live. Trying this thing live one more time here. Today we're going to be talking about nano dimension of the new iPhone, and of course some of the other stuff with around 3D printing. There is some stuff with Ultimaker that we need to go over, so we'll be going through there. But right at the moment, let's go ahead and we'll just nail through this, make sure everything's live. Anybody in chat? Anybody down below? Let's see what's going on. All right. Okay, there we go. There we go. We're going to check, make sure everything is rolling. There we go. Folks are making it in now. We'll go ahead. I'll hold off on the news for just a second or so until some folks get in. There we go. Now everybody's coming online. What's up, guys? Morning. Doing it live. Doing podcast live today. What's up, guys? I'm just going to dive right into the news. I'll start with one of the lower ones here. So, new CEO at Nano Dimension. This new gentleman, his name is Stylen. He is taking over as new CEO of Nano Dimension. Nano Dimension, as you guys probably know, because it's been the drama a lot the last few weeks, last almost year. Nano Dimension has been kind of the plucky billion-dollar 3D printing company that has been trying to buy pretty much every other 3D printer company. They were in line for desktop metal and everything else. But back this spring, the original CEO, Stern, was ousted basically by not a hostile takeover, but an activist investor. An activist investor bought a huge stake in Nano Dimension, said, hey, you guys are buying too many different companies, and then they ousted the existing CEO. There was an interim CEO who was the head of product previously. He has now stepped down, and now Stellan is able to come in and be the real CEO. And he is basically going after how do we be very intentional and strategic? Because Nano Dimension had a really great core technology around 3D printed circuits that kind of plateaued, and they've been working to expand by buying a lot of other companies that they didn't want and were kind of liabilities, especially right now, since they were on the line for desktop metal. And desktop metal has turned out to be not a good investment for the guys that got that. But yeah, Nano Dimension is moving to new CEOs. Let's see chat real fast. Hey guys, what's up? John Richardson, do you always work on Sundays? Yes, I actually do always work on Sundays, John. This is par for the course right now. What's up, everybody else? All right, next piece of news. We're gonna get this live podcast done. Just hear it as it is. The reason is I will let y'all in, you guys who are early here. We did not plan to have a live podcast today. The audio on the pre-filmed podcast was a little bit jacked up earlier this week, but the live went really well last week, so I wanted to do it again anyway. So, all right, Ultimaker launches secure line of 3D printers. This is per 3dprint.com. We really saw a market needed for products that fit into specific categories, defense being one, military one, and then the companies that are also doing business with those, or just have very strict security requirements within their organization, even if they don't work with military, said Jim Franz, president of Ultimaker. All right, this whole article, the printers have been ruggedized. Okay, let me. So, Bamboo makes pretty good printers, right? Ultimaker, you guys may not know very well because they're an OG company. They got started back in 2012 with MakerBot and are one of the few original 3D printer companies still running. With the advent of Bamboo, Ultimaker's not doing that great, I would imagine, because they effectively made the first high-speed and really high-quality 3D printers. Ultimakers are they Core XY? Yeah, I think they're Core XY. Or version or Cartesian. But Ultimakers did really good print quality, all the rest of it, but they were expensive machines. They cost like $2,500 in like 2018 or so. More recently, they have been going kind of up in the prosumer, kind of low level industrial use cases with their S6 and their S8 machines, which are highly enclosed, highly engineered. They have a good sales motion in order to get them into industrial situations. But the Ultimaker has been trying to figure out where to get a foothold in all of this. And military is an excellent example because since Ultimaker is actually made, manufactured, and designed inside of a Western country, Militaries are a little bit more open to that because there's not a security threat with that. And um, it's a competitive advantage that Ultimaker has over light bamboo, because there are stories going around of light bamboo machines being used in military contexts, but they've been air gapped. They're never connected to the internet because there's probably getting all the files downloaded. It's a very high risk because the CCP could just ask bamboo to download all the files that they've seen, and then it would go from there. But so what Ultimaker has done is they have taken their existing machines, which are prosumer machines. They've ruggedized them and they've increased the security on them so that there's very explicit security controls on it, so files can't get lost, and they can actually be deployed to like front lines. So they glued in all the screws so they can't rattle loose when you're in the back of a jet and that kind of thing. This is a really good move on the part of Ultimaker because it's still a really good market, and Ultimaker as kind of a more professional organization than really like a consumer products organization anymore. It's a good move for them, and yeah, excited to see what they do with that. But this is a really good situation where, like, okay, back on the heels technologically because of the bamboo machines. Get caught up. Ultimaker has very good machines that make good quality parts, always have, all the way back to like 2015, 16, so on. Ultimaker has always been kind of like the high quality leader and speed, but they don't have the manufacturing infrastructure of light bamboo, so they're able to now leverage this new situation where they can actually have a competitive advantage by being a Western country. All right, next piece of news. I'll check chat real fast. Just if there's anything big, we'll get it at questions. Will you ever see me without the hat? Never. Does Portals have a storefront with our multiple items? It does not. We'll get back around to some of that a little bit later on. Let's see here. Hey, what's up, Anjad? Are we in additive manufacturing? Yes, we're in additive manufacturing. Recommend subscribing to the channel. All right, I'll get back to chat here in a bit. New iPhone Air has a 3D printed part in it. This is kind of a big deal because 3D printed parts don't generally go into the iPhones. So the iPhone Air, they had to make it super thin. In order to make it super thin, they have the USB port inside of it, which is not the Thunderbolt port that they wanted to be using on this product. But they introduced the new USB port, and in order to get it to fit, they had to use 3D printing. Now, this is a really great, it's a key phrase inside of Apple. It said this. This is not like, rumors or whatever else it was. No, Apple has said, hey, we use this additively manufactured part inside of the phone, which is a big deal for Apple to call out, hey, we're using printing on this, because that means the rest of the industry is going to start using it. But to be fair, it's a part that's like literally like that big. So they knock out 1,000 of them in a single build volume. It's not that bad. So from the logistical standpoint, it's very doable. It is a 3D printed titanium part. It is the USB charger, USB port. It's cool to see because it's a big promotion of the industry. It is interesting because they had to use 3D printing. They say they save 33% on the material. It's part this big. That's very marketing speak. They make 1 million iPhones. They're not going to save a ton of titanium from this little part there. There's whatever. It went from 1 gram to 0.7 grams. Great. But the engineering requirement of needing to design a part this small, you can't use casting. Well, they said they couldn't use forging as they would traditionally use. So it was interesting to see that there was an engineering requirement for it. So forging probably couldn't make it because with forging, you have minimum feature sizes in order to allow material to flow into it. But with additive, you don't have that. So that's probably the reason they ended up going with additive, is like 3D printing can make us make a really tiny, fine part that's kind of long and thin comparatively, but still really condensed so it can fit inside of the thin iPhone. So, all right, that's the news. Yeah, Ultimaker's sending out stuff, Apple 3D printing their phones, and Nano Dimension's getting a new CEO. There was... I'm excited for podcast next week. We have another little piece of Apple news that I want to talk about, but it's not going to go in this one, so be ready for the podcast next week. All right, Portals FAQs. We wanted to run through a bunch of these. Okay, Portals. Last week we released Portals. As everyone knows, Portals is our print-on-demand application to where you can just upload a model and then it's instantly for sale. If somebody buys it from you, then we will print it and ship it straight to them. So designers can really focus on design. And we hope that this will allow so many more of the really awesome 3D printed products out there to be made available. Because rather than sharing a link to, hey, download the file over here, people can share the link to, hey, go get the object over here. And there's no fees. You don't have to set up an Etsy store or a Shopify store. You just upload the file and you get a portal link. So it takes like 30 seconds. So some FAQs that came up, some frequently asked questions that have come up around Portals. Number one, is it free? Yes, Portals is totally free. You can upload models till cows come home and share those portals around. Do you ship anywhere in the world? Yes, we ship anywhere in the world. It is flat rate shipping right now. So it is $5 for something under 1 pound, $10 for something over a pound. And international is sitting around like $25 right now, 25, $30. The reason for that is because just tariffs and world trade and everything else is upheaving quite a bit right now. So it's kind of expensive to ship internationally. But we'll deal with that with our other factories. How do I get paid? So up at the top of Portals, there's a little sales button that says how much money you've made. You tap on that, and then you can request download of money. And you will either get it via PayPal or a direct deposit in your bank account if you enter in your bank account details. Okay, parts and colors. Third-party parts and multicolor parts. So Portals, third-party parts will be coming to Portals in the next couple of weeks or so. Colors, as in like having a purple bottle over here and a green lid over here. Those will also be added into Portals and made available here in Portals pretty soon too. So those features that are currently in Teleport will be moving over into Portals. Color options. So there's a few questions around this. When are more colors coming? There are always more colors coming. We'll get more colors over in Portals. But the other one is color options inside of the product listing itself. Right now inside of Portals, you're able to select one color that portal will be. The reason for this is that over the last couple of years, well, for many years, Slant 3D operates. At one point, we had about 10 Etsy stores that did more than $100,000 in annual revenue. And then we did that to eat our own cooking and to understand the commerce. In addition to that, on Teleport, there's more than 4,000 or 5,000 businesses who use Teleport on their Etsy stores. So we get to see the data and the type of products that are going by on there. It is very clear that if you have a large number of colors on your product listing, it doesn't radically increase your sales. Generally, about 80 to 90% of sales go to the color that you have photos of, and straggler 10% of sales will go the other direction. But literally, you could get more than that 10% if you were just listing other products rather than maintaining all the colors. So the long and short of it is, one color for a product listing increases your conversion rates and doesn't give customers decision fatigue when they come into your listing and are choosing stuff. So Portals has been designed in order to make sure that each listing is optimized as an e-commerce layout. So single color is the direction that we decided to go with there in order to make sure that people had the maximum opportunity of getting a sale from the item that they have listed on the portal. So it just increases everybody's sales so that it's more maintainable, more scalable, and more reliable. And customers are happier, sellers are happier, then there's less left on it all. Delete a portal / editing a file. You can disable portals right now. So yeah, that's effectively the delete. Nobody else on the internet will ever see it. But the deleting of the portal will kill all the links out there. So we kind of want to leave it alive so that people can still come to Portals and find you as the thing continues to evolve, in case like a link dies or like, oh, you updated a design or something. Editing the file has been a little bit kind of an internal debate, because if we allow people to update a file, then they can create a portal around a particular file, but then they can change out the file and kind of jerk the rug out from underneath the portal listing. So we've been of the view that we should have people just create a new portal and you can replace the link so people will go to the new portal. But that way we know that the file is still what was intended to be in that portal and not have somebody create a spam or catfishing sort of a thing around these models. Okay. What's up, guys? Hey, Michael. Hey, Alan. Anjad, nice to see you. AMT, what's up? All right. Keep on asking any questions down there. We'll get to them in like the question section of all of this. Oh, another Portals FAQ. Getting ready for Halloween. Yes, we are getting ready for Halloween. There will be some additional Halloween colors coming in. So like another orange to go with like our muted red and maybe some more purple, that kind of thing for Halloween items. And then that'll all be going out there. But yeah, Portals, since the release of it all, it has been very well received. And thank you guys all for the amount of feedback and interaction with it. Like folks have been doing some cool stuff with it already here in the first week or so. Huge, big old spike of people using it. And it's really exciting to see because it enables people to have their 3D model be valuable without having to give up the 3D model. So we've had both like established designers who have started moving their catalog over to Portals to brand new designers or amateur designers who are like, I designed something for the wife the other day that fixes this dishwasher, and they can upload that spare dishwasher part, and now people can get that part. And anyone in the world can get that part without owning a 3D printer. Plus, like Instagrammers and influencers, if you are 3D printing items, your only way of making a living was to sell the files. But you can only sell the files to about 100,000, maybe 1 million people out there on the planet who are turning over each year. It's a real treadmill. But if you can sell the prints of the files, now you can sell to humanity, anybody who wants your product, not just the people who are wanting to 3D print your product. So it allows 3D printing designers to just become designers who are creating products that can then be distributed. And they don't have to worry about the customer support or the packing and shipping or anything else. All that is taken care of. Yeah. Marketing to Portals. Marketing to Portals. We're trying to put together like a series or a motion or education about this, but like literally the marketing of Portals, if you start up a portal, start a TikTok account and you show your print and you demo it with your cell phone camera, and you make 10 to 20 of those videos explaining what it is, why you built it, who you are, and you will very likely get a sale from that. We're thinking of one video, doing a video that's like, I can't leave the office until I get $100 in sales on Portals or something like that. That's what I'm going for. That's what we're going for. So to just prove that we can do it, because I know I can knock that out in like a day, but that also isn't much drama if I know I can get it done. So we're trying to figure out how to do those types of demonstrations. But literally, if you're being stopped by really anything of selling your products, Portals has just made it free and instant. You don't even have to set up an Etsy store. If you've got a product already, cool, it's designed. The only thing stopping you is marketing it, which is pointing a camera at an object and going. And you're like, I don't want to film videos. Deal with it. It's the internet we live in. And if you don't want to sell your stuff, then you're not going to sell your stuff. If you're like, I don't want to do videos, and you're like, my stuff isn't selling, it's like, deal with it. If you're not willing to do what is necessary to get it done, you can't get it done. But yeah, that's Portals. It makes it so easy to create a product now, guys. And it was already really easy, but it's so much easier now, and it's cool to see because it does enable anybody in the world to get it too. We had a problem with like our teleport users who were like in different countries. They would have trouble getting into teleport because like, this plugin doesn't work on it. Portals got rid of all of that to where a person just needs an email and you can get signed up for Portals. All right, teleport updates themselves. Oh yeah, this week the sales dashboard and the analytics dashboard of teleport should be up and live. In fact, let me check that right now. Let's see here. I want to make sure that it's live. Okay. Yep, here we go. All right. Yes, the sales dashboard is up and live. So we got the sales dashboard live inside of Teleport. That is an upgrade since the kidney transplant that we did last week. So sales analytics, which include like revenue, what your profit is, all the rest of that, that's all in the dashboard of Teleport. And then we're tightening up shipping statuses. For some users, there's been an issue where tracking information got sent out too soon before the item went out the door. This has been a challenge because there's multiple different things that can affect that. And right now, like the post office in the United States is really, really finicky, and they've been not scanning packages for a couple of days. So it's like, where's my package? It's lost. And it's like, no, they're just going to scan it when they drop it on your porch. And that's when it gets updated. So shipping has been really finicky there. But then there's also the issue of like, we would pack an item in like an afternoon, and then it doesn't like get picked up from the carrier until the next day. And that can create a delay to where there's just a lag in shipping. So we've been tweaking the software to figure out how to make that tighter and truer, so that it's just better customer support and better information for everybody there. All right. Slicer update. There's always a slicer update happening. We push about 3 to 10 updates on our slicer every week. But this week we've been working really hard on PETG. There's a few changes to PETG that'll be coming down. We may be changing PETG from a standard glossy, just straight black PETG to a more matte PETG. We're doing testing on it right now to make sure that the strength is still there, to make sure that we don't undercut somebody's part or anything like that. But we just want to really improve the surface finish of those parts, and matte is a good direction to go. There may also be an adjustment in the actual surface finish itself so that we get it down to more of like a pinned look on every one of the parts. So we're chasing that down. But yeah, that's teleport updates. And of course, those updates propagate to portals too, because portals is a feature of teleport. All right. Anything weird in chat? Everybody being nice? Cool. Everybody be nice. Sweet. I think so. That's good. Okay. Tangled. Updates on Tangled. Tangled's rolling along. Tangled's doing good. I talked about tough filament last week, which is a new material that we're messing with. It won't come out until like the spring at the earliest. But we got the testing done on it. It is really cool. It should eliminate layer lines completely, is what we're shooting for. And the filament itself, we're trying to keep it down below $20 at launch. So right now, of course, Tangled sells PLA at $10 per kg. The tough filament is a wholly different material, so it will not be that cheap to start. But we're going through and figuring out what the processing requirements are for it. We'll figure that out a little bit over the next month, but then we're into the Christmas season, so we won't be able to do new product launches during that time. And then we will roll from there. Tangle, nothing else with Tangle there. Okay. Let's go. And actually, I'm going to just run into questions. Let's just roll questions. This is live. Let's do questions. All right. Let's start with chat. Such Zucker? I need a product that contains PETG printed inside TPU. TPU will be coming to portals reasonably soon, but it won't be for a bit. Like, we're scaling up all the core stuff here, and every time you introduce new material, you just add it on. You didn't just increase like 5% of your work; you like doubled your work. Because there's sourcing and maintenance and color and process control and everything else. One of the last live streams, did you accidentally press go live instead of record? Because it just looks like a bunch of outtakes for a video format. The guys were messing with live stream earlier this week. I don't know. Do you have a service that you... Wait. John Richardson, do you have a service that can optimize the models with all the tips you have been given the design for production? That's this YouTube channel. If you need the design tips, watch this YouTube channel. That's the reason we built the YouTube channel, is in order to educate people about how to design 3D models as reliably as possible. You could take all these videos or just go talk to ChatGPT and say, hey, based on what Slant 3D says, how does this part look, and like load a screenshot, and that might actually work. Question, you teased matte black replacing black on Tangled. Any update? Oh yeah, that's the tough. So tough is tough unnamed filament. I don't want to mess with the live stream, Alex. I don't know it'll mess with people. But the tough is the matte filament that we're working on. It will also be a more performant material. Let's see here. If we were to buy a Bamboo Lab H2S or wait on H2C, which would you go for? I don't give machine recommendations, guys. Like I don't know and I don't care. Um, but yeah, we use a combination of third-party machines and our own internal machines here inside of Slant. Big dominance towards our own machines just because it's more reliable. There's a lot of reasons. You can't build a print farm on third-party machines for a long term. 3D printing. Oh, Dan, what's up? Thanks, man. Let's see here. I need it. Okay. Why is this in a vertical format? Because I'm doing it on phone. We're going to do it on shorts, shortify it all. John Richardson, as a marketing guy, do you think you oversaturate your customers with daily podcasts? We don't do daily podcasts. This is one podcast once per week. We release a piece of content every single day. So there are shorts, there are long forms, and we have 3 separate YouTube channels that we maintain. But content, you are only shown, we live in a world where content is shown to the people who are interested in it. So the important thing is having the content out there, and Slant 3D has very much kind of a grind mentality to where until we really see the signal, we're going to try stuff until we find the stuff that works, because it's also always a moving target. Question, or more like suggestion. Have you considered reaching out to charitable 3D printing organizations to promote portals? Just saw Make Good on a YouTube channel I used to watch. John Paul Hotman. We have. Portals, I think, is a really big enabler for these sorts of organizations. The one we think of are like First and not Make Good, not Make Linked. Oh, there's too many Make companies. It's a group of guys who do assistive devices for people with disabilities. It'll come to me here in just a second. Makers for Change. Makers Making Change. It's a Canadian organization, is another one of them that does well. But they do assistive devices, First Robotics. Kids can do like fundraisers with them, or prosthetics, like prosthetic hands and that kind of thing. People could design prosthetic hands and just have them available for people for like particular applications. So there's a lot of that can come around. I have a part that takes 5 hours to 3D print, but only 20 minutes to CNC. Your thoughts? To Zanti Flight, which one has more human labor inside of it? Machine time is effectively free. You have electricity and the amortization on the machine. So it depends entirely on the context of what you're wanting to do. The printer can run overnight or unattended, or it may not matter. A CNC machine may be more expensive per part, those kind of things. John Richardson, you should have a paid service to audit customer models. That's not a bad idea. The problem is that it requires humans, and even like the human expertise to do that is very rare. So it's a difficult thing to do reliably. We have done a number of different versions of that. We've done the accelerator program where like I help people optimize designs and optimize their business. And we have done design reviews before, but generally it's just too expensive. And especially in the context of Portals, since Portals is a free application, people are trying to get started. The cost of a design review generally doesn't connect very well. There's never enough caffeine. Don't drink it. I don't know. I'm not a coffee guy. Land in Texas. Have you thought of partnering with Gridfinity and Multiboard so that people can order these if they don't have a 3D printer? I think that's an excellent idea. We actually do. There's an API user. So we have the core API, which is like the software that Teleport and Portals and everything else is built on top of, that developers can use too. There is a guy who has a Gridfinity modification website that is plugging into the API, and that should be coming out. We'll actually probably do like a featured video about him because it's a really cool demo. But yeah. Mike Jones, I want to print 1 million articulated dragons so I can sell them for $9.99. How much? No idea. Which articulated dragon are you doing? You can absolutely, we've done, can I talk about that? Yes, we have done a lot of articulated dragons for people and had clients who have reached out to us for the 1 million+ sort of unit volume. Articulated dragons, though, are a fashion item. They are going to I'm not a huge fan of them explicitly myself, because I know that if I started a business on dragons, it would only run for about maybe 1 or 2 more years, and then it'll kind of die out. It's a fashion item. It's not, I don't see where the staying power is. A few people have built brands around the articulated dragons, and that gives you some staying power. But other than that, that is true. I would trust a 3D printer overnight. I would not trust that. Okay. Enough with the dragons killing the planet. Oh, nothing in 3D printing is killing the planet. John, I gotta disagree with you on that one. The 3D printing community, God bless them, everyone's very concerned about the sustainability of it, and that's fine. But the sustainability issues of 3D printing are completely irrelevant to the amount of plastic consumption in the world. There's whatever, 20 tons of plastic bottles thrown away a minute or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. It's an absurd amount. The amount of filament or support material or dragons or anything else is insignificant compared to toys or plastic in general or anything else. It's not to say that it's not something to be concerned about and to be aware of, but there's a prioritization of the things that are important. Printing is not of a large enough scale right now to be a problem ecologically. So the problems need to be sorted out about how to get to scale so that is actually a real problem to be dealt with. But right now it's just not. Okay. Especially in order of 1 million, if your problem is not to sell them, I would jump that customer order. Okay. All right, let's move over to regular stuff here for a second. Other questions? Okay. I'll go ahead and look up. Question: what about reviews? What are customer service issues in general? Oh, this is Portal stuff. Customer service issues in general. Portals, we handle all the customer support for all of those. So that's part of the deal and the reason we've done it all. Storefronts will probably be coming to Portals, but it's really designed for social. And again, single product, single color, really, really focused stuff. Because inside of 3D printing, everybody gets this shiny object problem to where it's like, I can print this, and I can print this, and I can print this, and I can sell all of them. And then you sell none of them because none of your branding or communication is consistent. What about discoverability? Discoverability is, again, built for social. Share it on your platform. Privacy settings, disable, turn on Portals. Question: will you expose more slicer settings? Features like FF are needed. Remove small overhangs. Support tree or zigzag. Support on-off. Support on-off will be coming to Portals and teleport in just a little while. But the thing with it is, again, making sure that people are always in a safe situation. Right at the moment, almost every single model that goes through teleport or goes through printing, goes through the print farm, not necessarily is uploaded. It is reviewed by a human first, just for sanity, because it takes 2 seconds to review it. So a person can run through several hundred or several thousand models in a day. And then the system can learn from that and improve. But there is, there's just so much variability in there that automated systems aren't very reliable. Mike Jones, I guess what I was really getting at, how cheap could you make them if you went all in and totally undercut everyone and monopolize the market? What is the cost of plastic? That's how cheap you can make them. The cost of printing is trivial at this point. At Slant 3D, we passed injection molding up to 100,000 units back in 2020. That was when 3D printing was became scalable. Like we could have produced 1 million dragons in 2020 for whatever, 50 cents a dragon or something like that, if there was 1 million of them at that moment. But that was before their time. So we were making other stuff, mainly face shields. Question: what is Portal? We talked about that. Question: matches that are multiple pieces, do you assemble them or just ship the parts? We just ship the parts. So Slant 3D does not, none of our stuff we do assembly for, because there's too much nuance in that. Plus, it's funny that as a maker-based community, it's people don't want to have other people do the making. I really appreciate what IKEA does because people get more value from an IKEA piece of for IKEA furniture because they get to put it together and they get ownership from it. So I'm surprised that more designers don't like harp on that to where it's like, here's a model and all the parts and that kind of stuff, and I'm going to show you how to assemble it, but you can assemble it. But that's the right type of thing to use on teleport and portals. Okay. All right, let's go and go to some other ones here. Some more questions. Anybody else got questions in live chat here? Let's see here. What do we got? Any chance you'll ever do assembly, magnets, felt, screws? We don't do assembly. We include those third-party parts. If you need felt, felt's a really good idea. If you need felt in a particular pattern, reach out to us at support@slant3d.com, and we will get it added into Teleport. There are magnets. If you need particular sizes or screws, let us know. Right now, our philosophy on third-party parts is we're going to be very generous, and we're going to basically introduce all of them. So if you ask for it, we'll pretty much do it. Do tell us the quantity of parts that you're needing them for. If you are pre-sales, as you have never sold the item before, it's tougher to introduce a third-party part for that because that is taking up warehouse space that somebody who's moving parts can do it. So just be ready to share kind of that info there. The seller has to pay the production and nothing more you care about, right? Correct. Yes. As soon as you upload an item to portals, it says this is the minimum price that you got to sell it for, which covers the production cost. And then you can increase the price however much you want to. It literally takes 30 seconds to create a portal. It's so fast and easy. Community. Okay, let's go over here and look at questions. Question, would you consider adding ASA or ABS in the existing platforms? So not ABS. ABS is a dead and stupid material. ABS never should have been used for 3D printing. But the ASA will be coming in and will be really, or an ASA equivalent, like that type of material will be coming available fairly soon. So we will go ahead and roll from there. Okay. Let's see here. I'll go to the next ones. Ugh, don't know how to spell. Okay. Any questions in chat? Okay. Like Amazon, can I ship in the parts to add to my print so that parts and print go out the same time and in the same box? Parts and print can go out at the same time in the same box on Teleport and coming to portals, but you cannot ship us the third-party parts. You can send it to us, and we can get them added. Or you can send us what they are and where you get them, and we'll buy them and get them into stock. But again, you got to share the quantity that you need there. Okay. Do Teleport and portals generate support automatically? Yes, they do. What is the delete button on portals? There is a disable button on portals, which is the equivalent of a delete. Nobody will ever be able to see it. Question, what is the likelihood of products melting, warping in boxes during shipping? The matte PL in regards to like PLAs and that kind of stuff. You know, it's not really a problem. We have, it does happen. It doesn't not happen. But the only situation where we've seen failure is where like there's a large number of parts inside of the box that are all like pressing against each other, so that when the box heats up, the glassification of the PLA causes them to press into each other and bend stuff. So that's kind of like the issue there. Few questions. Portals payment methods for customers. People can pay however they want to. Input whatever credit card you want. Shipping from the US. Yes, shipping in the US. We do ship internationally. Shipping is flat rate, $5 to $10. In third-party parts will be coming to Teleport or to portals. Yes. Delete button. Yep, the delete button's there. It's the disable button. Okay. Will my designs be featured in a portals marketplace? No. So the Portals is not a marketplace. Like we're not going to be, we thought about this when we were starting it up, and we're like, are we going to take all the portals that everybody have made and put them into a single page where everybody can just scroll through stuff? And the issue we have with that is that like one of the magic parts of portals is that there's kind of a protection in it, in that you're not like held up right next to somebody else who's selling it cheaper or selling the same thing but a little bit different. Like your product stands alone in that moment. Now, for us, it would be good to do that. It would be good for us to create a marketplace because it's like, oh, a more efficient market. Whoever's selling it the cheapest and selling it the best and stuff gets it. But that's not really necessarily good for designers. And I'm not even sure if that's necessarily good for customers, because again, it comes into decision fatigue. And designers can get ripped off and have like a counterfeit item put up right next to them. So we're definitely not doing it right now. Portals is designed to be a one landing page item. And if you want to create your own marketplace or internal store, you can just build a link tree or a series of links and people can just move around to the different portals. That's not difficult to do. But right at the moment, we're not planning to go in the direction of marketplace. Portals is a storefront in order to rapidly upload a file and have it for sale. If we turn it into a storefront, then costs will change. It gets complicated. Just all kinds of things go weird. Whereas like portals right now is very pure and really, really cool just because of how easy it is. All righty. Giovanni Fascon. Hello there. What is the topic of the live? We're talking about portals. We're talking about 3D printing. Just doing a live version of the podcast. How do you handle prints that are like 10 build plates of parts? You upload 10 build plates worth of parts and we print them all and we put them in a box. We have a video on the core Slant 3D channel, or this channel, to where we walk through the entire process of like collection and then post-processing and packaging and shipping. I recommend watching that. It's a black and white video. It's kind of cool. What is a product you produce in your factory? Everything. We 3D print whatever people upload. So we do everything from cookie cutters to parts for Fortune 500 defense companies. Okay. Okay, landing in Texas. Is there a way currently for us to embed the portal or our portal account to our website? Obviously, there's a link. As soon as you create a portal, the link is generated right there. So you can just create a button that says like buy now and it goes to the portal page. There is a preview version of the portal that, what am I saying? Preview version of the portal. Oh, that for like sharing on social media. I don't think we have created an HTML embed to where there's just an iframe that you can. No, we haven't released that yet. That's a good idea. I need to get that written down. So that people can just share the listing in a preview format on a website, and you just drop it into your HTML. And then, yeah, you can create a bunch of portals listings on your website. So that's a good idea. Yeah, that would improve the share. I'm down for that. Okay. Next question. Does Portal support multiple products and third-party parts? Those are coming. That'll be, literally be out in about the next 2 weeks or so. Wow. Thanks, Gabe. Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate that, Giovanni. I'm also using a 3D printer, but I am new. Can you tell me how to get smooth curved surface on 3D printed product, please? Apply a texture. Use fuzzy skin. Go to Formlabs Preform and Formlabs Preform and use that to apply a texture to the part, and that creates a really good quality print all the time, regardless of print settings and everything else. If you're trying to tune the slicer or something like that, you're on the wrong end of the design spectrum. You can fix it all in CAD always. Support Portals. Does it support Apple and Google Pay? Yes, it does. Portals does support all those things. Anybody? Yeah, it's credit card checkout, so you can just say pay with Apple Pay, and that's fine. Okay, let's see here. How are returns and customer questions are handled, even if the print is flawless? Yes. So for us with Portals, we take care of all of that. And we basically have the same return or cancellation policy that we have for Teleport or anything else. If the person doesn't like the product, we pretty much automatically refund it. We just kind of need reason. So a very generous return policy because it's just easier. People think this. They're like, oh, I need to have an evaluation criteria of if I do a return. And it's like, no, it's not worth it. Just do the return. The amount of time you spend going back and forth of a discussion of like, did it actually break in shipping, or was it thrown by the UPS guys, UPS guy's fault, or whatever else it was? It's like, no, customer didn't get part, they don't like it, or they're trying to fraud you, full refund. Who cares? If they do it 3 times in a row, they're banned. That's the simple way of doing that. Designs made to be printed with fuzzy skin. How does that work? Create a design with fuzzy skin in the model and upload that. And that's how you can get fuzzy skin. We will probably be turning on fuzzy skin just natively inside of stuff, but yeah. Okay. What happened to what happened to White Pet G? Oh, White Pet G went away last year. Just wasn't used. Wasn't used very heavily, and White Pet G just causes quality problems. Increased quality problems. Really questions to try it out. Here are some questions. Do products consist of multiple parts also work? Coming soon. Need to be assembled. Nope, we do not do the assembly. Multicolor will be releasing here fairly soon. Very cool. Please let me use the word screw in the title of my portal. We fixed that. We had NSFW filters on portals, and they were slightly oversensitized. So we went ahead and fixed that. Yeah, so that's been better. All right, any other questions here in live chat? Anybody got anything? Let's see here. Let's roll through a few there. Herd shipping and handling is the biggest bottleneck for makers once they get going big. Mike Jones. Shipping is tough because shipping is a whole kind of discipline. You have to order boxes, you have to order labels, you have to try to port all of your orders into a single place. It can be challenging, but that's one of the reasons we built portals too, is so that all of that goes away. Because like with teleport, we automated like that shipping component of it, but with portals, we eliminate like the Etsy thing of it. Starting up a business is so multifaceted to where you have to be an expert in so many different areas: shipping, packing, sourcing, suppliers, interviewing, so on and so forth, designing the product. But designing the product is just as much of the rest of the business. So it's challenging. But that's why we build our tools, is because we want more of the 3D printed objects to get out there. Joe Kisu, hello, I just came in here. My question, can you use fuzzy skin on only certain parts of surface? Use something like Preform, Formlabs Preform, and then you can apply textures to individual surfaces, and it becomes a part of the file itself. And then you can upload that, and you will always have that texture printed. What is the best replacement for ABS for like stuff that will sit in a hot car? ASA, PCTG, nylons, all of them. Those are all better materials. ABS is toxic. High warp was never intended for 3D printing. It was used for 3D printing because it was the most common material inside of molding. So it was just a supply chain availability, but it's a garbage material. It doesn't adhere to beds. It doesn't have any particular properties that are better than any other material. I don't know why ABS is the thing. Giovanni Faiscan, will you integrate all the materials and functions of teleport into portals? Is it on the roadmap? Yes. Yeah, portals will start getting third-party parts and multi-parts here soon. Okay. Okay. Well, the new colors in portals. Yeah, we have 3 new colors inside of portals that are not inside of teleport. They're the matte red, the tan, and the matte blue, the portal's blue. So there is a bunch of, the portal's blue. So those new colors are available. They are over there. They are not in teleport yet because they were intended for the exclusive release of portals, but they will be going through. Okay, let's see here. What else we got? How do you print the entire? No. Can my portals customers see that my product is 3D printed, or does it just look like any other typical product listing? What are your product photos? Your product photos will communicate what the product is, and that sets the tone for it all. Okay. Question. Shapeways now claims integration with Etsy and Shopify. Are they your European partner or your competitor? I can't talk about that question for a number of different reasons. Any plan to offer multicolor prints? Yeah, multicolor prints in there. With you guys having mastered the print farm machine, have you thought of selling them to the public? No. No, we'll never sell our print farms. Not because it's just there's a market limitation on that to where there's not enough people who want print farms to make it useful. There's not enough margin for us to make it interesting. And the print farms are such a cohesive system that trying to box it up and push it out the door is an entirely different company from what we do. Our whole job is to make product creation easier. We did that initially by just building print farms that were scalable so that you could eliminate the mold. And then we moved into teleport, where it's like, okay, now we're going to eliminate the shipping and packing and that part of the business again, so that it got easier again to create products. And then we introduced portals to where now to create the product, you just have to create the product and upload the file. So we're continuing on that trend. Making it easier for people to create products does not mean, hey, here's a giant machine, go figure it out. No, it's creating systems that make distribution easier, make manufacturing easier, make marketing easier. All those things become kind of under our purview. Okay. How do you split item to several parts so that you can scale the prints bigger? Split them? You can just go ahead and split them. Bamboo Studio has a good splitting tool inside of it. I think Prusa has a good splitting tool inside of it, or you can use 3D Builder and split it yourself manually. There's a few ways of doing that. What's the larger size print the system can accommodate? 220 by 220 by 220 is the standard size. That's where the vast majority of parts land. If you're going bigger than that, the economics don't work. If you're going, don't go smaller than this. We recommend nothing smaller than a cubic inch or 20 millimeters, basically. If you're going smaller than that, you get into all kinds of quality problems and stuff on just fine features, because features get smaller than the nozzle. Will you sell the machine for customers, not a farm? We've tried selling the machine before. We had a 3D printer back in 2020, 2021 called the Mason, which was the consumer version of our Slant box machines that we use inside of the print farm. The thought for that was, hey, people would be able to prototype on our machine so that they know what their part will be like when it comes out of our systems. And it was fine. Yeah, we sold a good number of machines and that kind of thing. But the issue with it, again, was just like company focus. Creating a consumer 3D printer, the support structure around it, everything else is just a whole separate company, to where we need to be focusing on how do we keep our portal users happy, our teleport users happy? How do we make it easier for people to create products? And that if we don't, if we're chasing this stuff over here of like, oh, we want to sell 3D printers, we just won't be focused. Plus, there's just a scale component to it, to where, yes, we build a lot of machines, but we don't build a lot of machines. We're going to have to build a few thousand machines over the next few years. Or we're probably going to have to build, over the next 3 years, we'll probably have to build somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 3D printers, maybe more, probably more. But that's not the same. That's not the same as like freaking the smallest actual 3D printer manufacturer. Well, smallest 3D printer manufacturer is doing fewer than that. But like a Bamboo or a Flash Forge or anybody else, they are making more than that. So they are better at producing a consumer style machine and giving it the support that it needs than we would be, as doing it as like a side hustle. Okay, how often do you really need to re-grease your 3D printer parts? Depends on your environment, everything else. Grease them. Regular maintenance is good. All right, guys, we are coming up on the hour. So we got about 6 more minutes, and then we're going to ramp this thing down. But this was good. I enjoyed this. This went pretty darn well for another one. We'll get the live streaming thing all nailed down here before too long. Any final questions from anybody before we get right in, head on out? Get them all out. What about providing limited instructions to the community so they can build our own version of what you use? That's available. Here, the print settings are over on slantpod.com. And of course, this whole channel tells you how to design the parts so that they can be produced reliably. That's the thing. Like the machine is kind of irrelevant anymore. If you design your parts well enough, it can print on any machine, anywhere, with any print settings from 0.3 layer height to 0.1, and nothing would change. So again, I recommend this channel. Subscribe. And it has all the resources to make you independent from any of the machinery. Because if you're dependent on the machine, then you're just not very scalable. So yeah, design your parts reliably so that they can be produced by anybody. Okay. I don't think there's anything else. We had a broader discussion topic, but I think questions pretty much covered it all. Any last questions from anybody down there in the chat? Get them all out right now, because we're gonna wrap this sucker up. We're gonna wrap it up, and then we'll keep. Well, we won't be doing this next weekend because I'm not around, so we're gonna get the recording to work next time. But yeah, we'll go from there. Okay. All right. Any last announcements or anything like that? No. Tangled is over there. $10 filaments available. Portals is released. Teleport just got a big update. There's going to be an acceleration of new stuff. So like a lot of cool stuff will be coming out here over the next few weeks. The apps will be evolving in ways that you haven't really seen before. Most of this year, we were working really heavily on kind of back-end development and just the systems and the infrastructure that holds all this stuff up. That's all done, and it's been done for a couple months or so, and we've been working on like portals and teleport upgrades. But now that infrastructure is in place, we can start building new cool stuff again. Do you have a playlist to learn more on 3D printing? Not really. Google 3D printing or look on YouTube for it. That's the best way to do it. Don't overthink it. You plan to get bigger machines for the farms for future proofing, building thousands of. Yes, it will lock us in place. But we know, here's the thing. Whenever designing a system, particularly of this scale, you need to know what the existing infrastructure has to do. About 85% of the products produced on the planet are that big. The plastic parts, about the size of your fist. Bigger machines don't add more value. The bigger machines add more value to an individual prototyper, but not in production, because the economics don't work, the scale doesn't work. Just there's a geometric problem increase with a large format machine. That being said, we have a 4-foot wide machine that we got in a few months ago or something like that. Some content will start coming out around that. It'll never be part of Portals. Well, we might do it as like a joke on Portals. Like 1 week you can order like chair size parts. That'd be fun. But it won't ever be the main part of the system. What is the minimum height for part to be ejectable? For us, it's about 1 to 2 millimeters in our systems. For if you're trying to DIY it at home, it might be something else. Okay. Is there a reasoning behind the size? Yes. Yeah. There's absolutely reasoning behind the size. Cool. Alrighty, everybody. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Anybody got last things? Wait, sounds like he's making a joke feature of chair-sized products. Is so much work. I love. It wouldn't be that much work. We would actually just it's just a few tweaks in order to allow chair-sized objects inside of like portals. But yeah, we can totally do that. The portals is going to be a lot of fun because we get to do that kind of stuff. Like we might bring back like lunar regolith. We can introduce seasonal colors, like on St. Patrick's Day, just have a particular beer green and that kind of thing. There's all kinds of fun stuff we could do. Would there ever be a reason to have a resin print farm? I'm not a fan of resin. Resin doesn't have the scale that FDM does. Plus, like the fun, whenever we think about like the architecture of the print farm, we're like, okay, we're building a warehouse where the shelves make the product. What gets in the way of that? Well, resin or powder or any of these other systems will always and forever require post-processing. So it'll have to be washed. It'll have to be powdered, whatever it is, cleaned up, rinsed, something. And that's endemic to the process and will never go away no matter what the technology does. FDM, an FDM part can come off a machine fully complete if it's designed right. They can have supports, sure, but that means that the designer is a cruddy designer. Not a cruddy designer, I shouldn't say that, but the design requires support sometimes. But you should, but it is possible for an FDM part to come off a machine and go right into a box, which means that the machines effectively become shelves. So FDM is a wildly powerful process, and it's been underappreciated for a long time. But like quality isn't a problem, strength isn't a problem. It has more materials. It's nicer to be around than all the other ones, just all the things. Okay, alrighty, guys. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap it up. That's the end of it all. We'll keep on doing these lives a little bit more often. And next week, yeah, I'm not really. We won't be able to do the podcast fully live, but I might check in and we might just do questions and answers and that kind of thing again because these are fun. Alrighty, we'll see y'all later.